Hey, what's up guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a book review for The Stormkeeper's Island by Catherine Doyle. If you guys don't know, this is the first book in a middle grade series that follows two characters, Fionn and Tara Boyle. At the beginning of the book, their mother sends them back to this island that she's from to spend the summer with their grandfather. The island's name is Erinmore, and the island does exist in real life, but it's not magical how the island in this book is magical. Erinmore has its own magic and is described as being aware. It is able to be aware of what's going on the island. It can, I guess, like sense the people and approve or disapprove of choices that the people on the island make. Every generation a person is chosen from 5 different bloodlines, and they're chosen to be the Stormkeeper. You find out at the very beginning of the book, so it's not a spoiler, that the children's grandfather is his generation's Stormkeeper, and the whole plot is kind of who is going to be the next Stormkeeper. As usual with my book reviews, I'm going to go through my pros, go through my cons, give you my rating, and be done. My first pro for this book was that I was really loving the magic in this book. I love that the island is aware and can influence things on the island. It's kind of like a nature spirit, I guess, because birds and stuff are controlled by the island. Stormkeepers are also able to use the magic of the island and use storms and able to store memories and create layers on top of layers on top of layers of Erinmore to go back in time to see different events that happen on the island, which I was loving. What is going on with this island? Why does it have magic in the first place? All of that stuff. I was really enjoying it. This book also came to me at the perfect time in my life. Bloomsbury sent it to me and I didn't even request it. I didn't even know it was a thing. But in my personal life, my grandfather is not doing amazingly well. He has really, really bad dementia and his memories have been fading and going away. And in this book, at the very beginning, it's a note to the reader, and she talks about why she wrote this novel and why there's such a prominent grandfather character. Her grandfather has Alzheimer's, and so in this book is like a fantasy version of Alzheimer's. So I could really, really relate to Fionn and his grandfather because that's kind of the relationship that I had with my grandfather. We were really, really close, but now he's starting to, well, not starting to, he's kind of in the end stages. He's forgotten who I am. So when I go to see him, he's like, "Who are you?" And then it's fine because I still have my memories, and that's kind of what this book is going for in the background, on top of the magical adventure of the Stormkeeper and figuring out who's going to be the next Stormkeeper and protecting the island. There's also a plot of the grandson and the grandfather and their relationship and how the grandfather is starting to forget things. The magical Alzheimer's is a little bit lightened up, so it's not too heavy. You're not going to get really emotional. There's only one part where I was like almost about to start crying because it reflected my life so closely. I actually took a picture of the line that I'm talking about. Let me find it. I'm cutting off a little bit just so I don't spoil anything, but it says, "Live a life of breathless wonder so that when it begins to fade from you, you will feel the shadow of its happiness still inside you, and the blissful sense that you laughed the loudest, loved the deepest, and lived fearlessly, even as the specifics of it all melt away." And I was like, ah! It was so good. So I was really, really loving Fionn and his grandfather's relationship. They have jokes and banter, and I just was all about it. I really loved it. I also really love how Fionn interacts with his sister. They fight a lot, and that happens around that age. I remember fighting with my sisters a lot as well. It's one of those things where family can be the harshest critics of you, but when you need them, they're there for you. That kind of thing. So another thing that I thought that this novel did really well was the antagonists. I hated them. I hated them so much, and you're meant to hate them, but I think over the course of the series, you'll start to hate them less. You understand why they are the way that they are, but you still hate them anyway. That's like the best antagonist. So seeing Fionn up against Bartley was really fun for me because I was hating Bartley and I was hoping that Fionn would win and put Bartley in his place. But that being said, I think that Bartley's little sister Shelby is such a good character. She really bridges the gap between Fionn and Bartley. She's not on either side and doesn't let either one completely other the other one. She kind of keeps them sort of close together. She knows that Bartley is being cruel to Fionn, but she still has love for her brother, obviously, because he's her brother. So she's trying to make everyone happy, and I just really enjoyed her being there to bridge the gap. And I think that over the course of the series, she'll be able to bring Bartley closer than him just being a complete turd. And my last big pro is going to be that I'm just so excited to see what happens next. The ending of this book is done in a way that it can go in so many different directions. There's still so many plot threads going into the next book that I'm just really excited to see get carried through. I really want to know what's going to happen to all these characters, and I really want to know what's going to happen to Aaron more in the future. And I only had one con really, and that was that at one point in the book I started getting really confused on what was happening. I thought that maybe I was just not reading closely enough, so I kept going back and reading and trying to figure out what I was missing and why I wasn't understanding what was happening. And then I realized that the answers to me being so confused were in the next chapter. So I wish that those chapters had been like reversed so that I knew what was happening and I wasn't getting confused and I wasn't thinking that I actually missed something important earlier on. So if you're reading this book and you got confused, just keep going because you didn't actually miss anything. You get the answers later. So that did throw me out a little bit because I thought it was my fault that I was confused, and it wasn't. I just had to keep reading to get my answers. So overall, I really enjoyed The Stormkeeper's Island. It is one of those books that just has come to me at the perfect time. I'm feeling very emotional about my grandfather's slow degradation, so I could really relate to this main character and him seeing his grandfather starting to forget things, and it's just awful for me. But I think that this is just a really fun adventure story, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to the next book. This one doesn't come out in the US until February 19th of 2019, but it is out in other countries, I believe. So if you're in other countries, you may have access to this already. I definitely recommend this one, especially for middle grade readers, adults that read middle grade, or kids that have grandparents that might have dementia or Alzheimer's. I think that you're gonna really be able to relate to this one. And also, who doesn't love some magical islands and powers? So that's gonna be my review on The Stormkeeper's Island by Catherine Doyle. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below if you've read this book. Are you excited to read it now? If you have grandparents that have dementia or Alzheimer's and you found books that you've related to, leave those down in the comments so I can check them out. Anything else you want me to know, leave it down below, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.